Patch 9.1, Chains of Domination, Director's Cut.
Fantastic. Perfect. Jesus.
So, grateful offerings are now rewarded from Covenant Callings.
Good, because I'm not doing my anima conductor stuff.
That's basically it. Not everyone's jazzed on their anima conductor. And then also there is just that there's a wind-up time to your anima conductor because you've got to upgrade it using anima. Maybe you want to enjoy farming anima up the most. So now you'll get some of those grateful offerings towards, from doing your Covenant Callings. Mm-hmm. World Quest 2.0, or twice as long. Woo!
Yeah.
Yeah, but hey, that's a good one. I don't know if there's too much comment left for it.
No, not at all.
In that case, moving onwards.
Mm-hmm.
This, I believe we've talked about this, but we just glanced over it very quickly, of course, earlier on.
It's real sharp.
Okay, Legendary Scrapper and refunds. So there's those that are in, now available for testing. And yep, the Rune Carver will destroy an existing Lego and give you all your Soul Ash and Cinders back. Of course, do be sure to buy a WoW token for crafting whatever you want next.
Yep.
Because shit's expensive, and I really wonder how they're going to manage that in patch 9.2 as they, of course, work out how they're going to continue the legendary system forward. Archivist Codex changes. Now, this is them doing something insane, Matt. Wild. They have, in fact, taken the design for Mists of Pandaria.
Wow, finally, can they take the classes and everything else too?
They've done it. I mean, ish, right? So here's what I'm referencing, by the way. Players at Tier 6 can now purchase the item Research Report Examination Techniques, a new BOA item that can be used on your main and sent to alts to increase reputation gains from relics and relic fragments by 50%. This is what happened with reputations in Mists of Pandaria. You get a BOA book that you would send to an alt that would increase your rep gains.
100% though.
It was
100% though. What are you doing? Make it easier, please. Thank you. No one wants to do this content. Maybe some people do. I don't think anyone wants to do this. I think people have to do it. True. So 50%, not enough.
And for the love of God, do your one-time only turn-ins after you have purchased this upgrade on your alt, please.
Yeah.
If you're going to be doing that on your alt. Anyway, but there are other things going on. So the research reports, which are the Korthia gear upgrade unlocks, and treatise items, which are the bonus anima and rep from 9.0 dailies, world quests, treasures, and rares, are now available for purchase account-wide if a character on that account has reached the appropriate reputation tier. Also, the Relic Efficiency quest offered at Tier 4 now also increases the average number of relics that will show up as bonus drops from rares and treasures, as well as how many relics show up on daily quests or in weekly reward chests. And this is in addition to the current reward of a 20% chance to receive double the normal relic fragment drops from rares and treasures.
Sound?
More relics. Maybe we're kind of beginning to work out that Archivist Codex, I think for a lot of players, when they were doing the one-time turn-ins, kind of doing their initial rounds.
Felt good then.
It kind of felt good. But then it got to the stage where your daily gameplay was do your rounds of chests, stand in the middle of the zone, wait. Oh! Oop! A map, blip, whoop! Kill it! Get your stuff, go into the middle of the map. That was it. There was, in fact, no gameplay. It was just reacting to map prompts, which is not what I call exploration gameplay.
Yeah, no, I think...
so this really is.
It was generally, I think, really paced badly, where they kind of followed the same model they have of Friendly to Exalted, but it just felt so much worse here because it was so important and the gameplay was so much heavier than doing a couple of dailies. Obviously, you could do a couple of dailies, but you're incentivized to do more, and also the randomness was insane. Like, 'cause I like how they've increased the amount of relics that will show up, but I think they don't need to just increase it, they need to narrow the window, because the range is completely insane.
Yeah.
Completely, utterly insane, even depending on what you actually get to do.
Well, Matt, if you like variants, this is all variants is going to giga increase your speed too.
Love it.
There's Relic Clues. So they've added in 2 new quests, Relic Clues, at Tier 3, which start the bonus at an initial 10% chance for double relic fragments, and Relic Hunter at Tier 5, which will set the final chance for double relics at 40%. And both of these new quests also increase the average number of relics you see as bonus drops on daily quests and reward chests.
Why? Why is it random?
Well, it's time to find out why, because we have our developer note.
good. Great, actually.
We want to improve the experience on alts looking to gear up through Korthia by providing immediate access to upgrade unlocks and a reputation increase if a player's main characters reach tier 6. We also understand that the end tiers of the reputation are taking longer than we intended. Who's going to tell them? That they kind of did just have those numbers be the way they were, and if your numbers aren't what you intended and it then takes you what's realistically going to be 3 months post-launch to fix that.
More than that.
Probably more, yeah. It's not ideal.
Well,
moving on.
Yeah, well, I mean, so, right. When did this patch come out? June 29th, June 30th, something like that?
Yeah.
That is, when do we suspect 9.15 will launch? Somewhere. This is 9.15, not hotfix, right? Just keep me.
This is
keep
915, right? I was also 100% sure. Yeah, this is in the
Okay.
PTR notes. This is
Okay.
Yeah, this is the PTR notes.
So
Yeah.
this is 9.15. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't wrong because I'm going to be really mean to them here. So November is when we expect this to come.
Yes.
Based on this is entirely based on the calendar on PTR showing Legion Time Walking beginning on November 2nd, I think. Which, coincidentally, 2 weeks, that's when just before Endwalker Early Access. Anyway, from basically the start of July to the start of November. That's 4 months. That's 4 whole months. And Renown 80 week is late October as well. But yeah, so that is 4 months of the core bit of progression that they added in the actual patch just isn't what they wanted it to be. And it seems like it's stuff that's possibly hotfixable or probably hotfixable.
Yeah.
So I just don't understand why they let it go
I'd
this
also
way.
say when they said taking longer than we intended, sorry, but this is all very simple stuff to calculate. You can build a model of this.
Or can you, if you make all of the numbers for every relic that everyone gets wildly random? You can build a model of average, you can build a model of minimum, you can build a model of maximum, you can build within that range.
I mean, even
I imagine they went for average and they didn't realize that people getting substantially lower, or maybe there's a bug that made people get lower than they expected, anything like that. But yeah,
you can do this in Excel easily. You can do this on. There's a startup ran by is it Timer Abdal? Is that the one? It's Ali Abdal, the YouTuber. It's his brother. Actually, is doing a startup. It's called Causal. I think Causal.io. It's really handy for building, just quick models for things.
Yeah.
Maybe we could, anyway, you could build a model to work this out and actually look at the sort of bell curve.
Yeah.
Really easily.
Of course you can, yeah. That's what they're paid to do, right?
So how did it take longer than intended when I think you could simulate this in an afternoon?
And time rushed it.
Yeah.
Or
I suppose it must be that, yeah.
Or the cynical thing to do, which I'm not saying is in any capacity true, but that longer than intended is an excuse.
Are you doing the History Channel? We're just asking questions.
Yeah, we're just asking questions. Are they lying? Yeah, I can't imagine they are, because if you open that can of worms, you can't close it again. That is Pandora's box of developer note completely out in the open. So I'll never say that.
It is not impossible.
Yeah.
That aliens developed Korthia. I'm just asking questions.
I completely agree, because no one with any. Okay, well, actually. Okay, I'm going to use it to talk very, 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 very slightly about something you mentioned earlier, so I wanted to, but I didn't get the chance to. So you were talking about game designers designing for experience and user story and all that stuff. This is where I think game designer as a term is inherently extremely flawed, because people who to be a game designer, you need to be able to model these, because if you're involved in balancing the system, if you're a systems designer, if you're a game designer who ends up being a system designer, you need to do this. You need to be able to understand all of this mathematics that'll result in the curve of power. It's kind of the same when, if you're designing an RPG, you need to know how to not make your enemies too hard based on mathematical formula over time. And you also need to understand what feels good about it. So I say you will need to do both, otherwise you end up with things like this, where, to be fair, these people are likely the ones trained in that and experienced in that, and they still kind of messed it up.
It could just be a thing of they're just getting rushed because everything's been a big disaster.
Well, 9.1 was not shippable when it shipped, so
that would certainly indicate that, wouldn't it?
This is definitely a big part of it.
Very interesting. So, to continue on with the post, though, beyond the balance being different to apparently what was intended, especially for players with limited playtime. Again, players for limited playtime, what that actually means is
People who can be bothered.
players... No, do you know what it actually means? In my head, anyway, that means people who go in and do the set content.
Oh.
As in the daily quests, the Covenant assaults, and then they do... Now, when I say exploration content, to people who are really clued into the game, it is Tomcats content. Yeah. And you just sort of do it all, and you just get frustrated at the spawn times or whatever. But to the average... to what I guess is their target average player, that's exploration content, I assume anyway, which is just the sort of people who, they log in, they do their dailies, and if they see a rare when they're doing their dailies, or they, see a little, icon for a chest, they pick those up. I think it's that. And again, that's the sort of thing where if this is like that, if that's exploration content, it's like a nice little, sprinkle on top that you find a rare, you find a treasure chest, which when you think about what a rare or a treasure chest is in terms of player fantasy and what is intuitive, that's actually what you design for in a system like this, because rares and treasures, if they're there should be rares and treasures. They shouldn't be a daily checklist that is extremely more annoying than daily quests or something. So that's a little weird thing. Or are not powerful enough to delve into the rifts or on Korthia. To that end, we have added new quests at tier 3 and 5 and adjusted the one at tier 4 to increase relic count from daily and weekly rewards, along with their other bonuses of increasing relic fragment drops. We hope this will speed up everyone's progress to restore the Archivist's Codex. So, this is all good changes.
Yep.
100%. It's just, again, that thing.
4 months late.
Take Dakor. Poor bastard. He no-lifed this. He gold-capped his character because he went so hard into Korthia that he got the eye level 230 crafted gear before almost anyone else in our server. And Ravencrest is a chunky server. Bloody hell. He really shouldn't have done that. Honestly, Dak, you could have done better things with your time. But that said, he is gold-capped now. So who knows? Maybe he's just bought 1 million Battle.net gift codes and destroyed the market in G2A. Who knows?
Maybe.
but yeah, for the people who then did this at launch, again, it's just that very unfortunate thing with World of Warcraft where the major patch that gets all the marketing comes out and it's not ready. And then 3 to 4 months later, another patch comes out that is not a big marketed patch because, it's a small systems patch. And that's the one that makes the previous one playable and fun. Or less fictitious.
Yeah, they've got this incredible problem where they've got, how do I put this? So you've got, how do I do this so the camera makes sense? So you've got 2 lines, right? Yeah. This one is player satisfaction, quality of game. This one is how many players are playing. And your line goes like this. Whee! Which is the exact opposite of what you want. Ideally, you want both to be up high, but they just completely, they make people play the game when it's at its literal worst consistently. They've done this for years now, and it's a miracle anybody still bothers with a new patch.
It's
to be honest with you.
Even everyone knows this, from IRL, of you got to do it right first time.
Yeah.
My summers were spent on a building site with my dad, erecting conservatories. You very quickly realize that measure twice, cut once is important.
Yep.
Because if you fuck up the frames, well, what are you going to do? You're going to need to get new frames. It's going to take time to get frames from the company. Now your customer's going to be pissed. Thankfully, we'll say, rather excellent at building conservatories, my dad is, so that was essentially never a problem. But it was never a problem because he always measured twice, cut once, and got the job right first time.
Yep.
And that's why he didn't lose customers.
And he
wasn't making cheap shite commodity conservatories, unlike the competition.
Yeah. So
I still got to, be up the family business. But you know what I mean, right?
Yeah.
In a game, you can't do that. You can't just say, the players will come back, we'll patch it later. We're World of Warcraft, we're the big boys. It's
you can do that in video games, but you can only do that in video games specifically when you market your title as an early access title and make everyone completely aware that's what's happening. Because I completely accept that in Rogue Legacy 2. I bought that game knowing early access, in development, they're actively developing it. Not the same World of Warcraft. I don't see anything on the Chains of Domination trailer that says product not finalized in early access.
Yeah.
Please buy. It'll maybe be good in a year's time. They don't market it that way.
All I'm left saying is, sorry, Ian, your boss forced you to put out a game that you were not able to market or label as early access. make no mistake, it was early access. I'm sorry, and I don't mean to devalue the team's hard work or any of that stuff, but ultimately, we have got to be on the side of the consumer who are paying their hard-earned cash, and they do not deserve an early access product. So again, like, this is all good changes. I really feel like you could have, in an afternoon, maybe two, built a quick model of all of this and figured out all of these problems early. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Maybe they see a bell curve and don't know what to do with it and don't understand how many people actually exist in either, side of the middle. But yeah, that's basically it. And they need to not. You just can't fix it.
Yeah, you can't fix it after the fact and expect it to be like you fixed it in time. You've definitely done it late. Like, you've done it, but you've done it late.
I mean, even to think about the old, like, the family business again, like, tradesmen often get a bad rap, of like the, the bandit tradesmen that, there's even reality TV shows about them.
And they pester the city, but yeah.
Right. And you can't be, big pro game designers, but come off like a bunch of bandit tradesmen who are not, yeah, man, I guess that's just what it is.
Yeah. But at least we have a good takeaway from it. That's for sure. Blizzard can, go out the front of the campus, go to the orc statue, and add another little message: measure twice, cut once.
There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be it.
Mm-hmm.
That would be it. And it's just the sort of thing where, like, I'm sorry, it's just not fair to players. Yeah. Even take Dakor in our team. It's not fair to him.
You've literally...
You've wasted dozens of hours of that man's time. Now, do you think he's going to feel more like he wants to stay subscribed to your game and come back? And he's one of your important customers. He's a big Mythic Raider. Yep. He's the stickiest type of WoW player.
Mm-hmm.
You'd think. Sure. That's it. Yeah, it's just not fair. It's just not fair. And unfortunately, then there's people like me and you, perhaps. We know, we often. I mean, look, when I hit like rank 2 or rank 3 of Archivist Codex, I just looked at everything and like intuited that this had been measured no times and shipped. That's what it felt like, and then I decided to no longer engage with the system. Mm-hmm. And that wasn't me in the past. I would just, hop into the, want to hop into the things. But now I've been trained. Yeah. I've been trained that that's not really a great idea. And I'm happy that they're balancing this because this is objectively a good change. But the fact that this has to be done, just don't try to do shit like this again, man. Just think about the things that have worked. And if you don't have the capability to do something a bit more ambitious like this and have it work, try to do what works, because at least that'll make some people happy and won't actively piss people off.
Yeah.
And I know that there then is the side of, you could say that's very much designing from a position of fear, like fear of your players. And, Kevin Jordan's going to fly in and say, oh, yes, fear knows no love. And it's like 100%. I think that's just a great axiom. Yeah. But, go a bit conservative. It's at least better than this. When it's like when you have got to put in such sweeping changes, it just does tell you. It just does tell you. And then I also have to say, why is this not a hotfix? Why is it not a hotfix? You mean you guys have shown you're able to hotfix things?
Yeah, I guess it's probably the flavor of it. Or maybe, to be cynical, maybe they want to hold it back and make 9.1 have a bigger, better patch. To have a bigger sort of, not marketing per se, because I highly doubt they'll market it really heavily. But, to have a bigger impact overall, which is, it's cynical, but I could also see it being, internally, that's kind of
I've got it.
Yeah.
Man. Pull Sony. Mm-hmm. Patch 9.1, Chains of Domination, Director's Cut.
Fantastic. Perfect. Jesus. That would kind of make sense too. That would kind of work. The only problem is, for that to make sense and to work, they would have to fix all of the existing bugs in the game and also redesign the fight so Dakor doesn't have literal progression stopping bugs on Sylvanas, despite the fucking game been 3 months. 3 months.
I haven't been in the loop on this. He's having progression stopping bugs in Sylvanas Mythic.
Oh yeah, there's literally I can't remember.
He's on Sylvanas Mythic now, right?
Yeah. So I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was something about I can't remember which mechanic it was, but players been targeted by things they need to go away with when they need to stack. A literal, you need to do two separate things at the same time overlap mechanic, which is perfect design. Perfect design.
Epic.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah, actually, I have one more thing before we move on, because I want to just kind of loop this back a little bit, where you were saying about don't bother doing this.
Dakor just said, by the way, that's not a huge problem, but it is still very annoying, and it apparently is going to be hotfixed in the next reset. So
Nice.
if you're watching this in the stream, that's good news.
Yep.
If you're seeing this on our clips channel, then it's very unfortunate that Dakor is, that's been a problem for quite a while.
Yep.
But by the time you watch this in the clips channel, it's probably been hotfixed.
Good, fantastic. 3 months old. Anyway, what I was saying was, I think that there's that's my catchphrase today, 3 months old. So the idea that this took longer than intended because they didn't math it out correctly, or maybe there's a bug, something like that. And you saying about like why do it if it's not going to be valuable, then what you can do is take all of the people who are lovingly poring over their spreadsheets for all these new systems and say, right, you go pour over the old systems, because this is really reductive on my end. But if they're making numbers make sense, go do that for old content, because that's one of the things I don't know if they talk about it or if it's just community kind of good discussion around why they don't do things. But if a lot of the problem with old content is that they aren't able to make sure it works numerically for people to go back and play it, don't do this. Do that instead. Win-win.
Yeah.
You've got, because instead of Korthia, which no one's going to go to ever again once Shadowlands is over, basically, instead of that, I mean, people will, but...
I mean, not really.
Yeah, but not for any decent reason, because there's not really a whole lot to earn in it. But if you do, if instead of doing this, you instead made, say, Cataclysm time walking substantially better, maybe added Raid to a couple time walkings because you've just had people pour over numbers because that's what they're good at, then suddenly you've just made content that will last forever instead of content that will last for about a month before people get annoyed, and then for about another 2 weeks after they come back in 9.1.5.
Yeah. True.